Hi, this is Igor from hdhead.com. We are going to do 2D to stereoscopic 3D conversion in this Avid DS tutorial. Don't expect to have a fully finished working product. This is more of a proof of concept. Conversions are very difficult to do and they require countless manual hours and a lot of talented artists rotoscoping stuff and creating volume. This is based on a paper by Vazguez and W Tam published in May and June 2011 issue of SMPTE Motion Imaging Journal. Conversions are a lot more complex than just cutting out layers and stacking them in depth, because if you were to do that, it would be pretty apparent that your layers are flat. So it would work to some extent, maybe for some shots, but you can see how the face is turning all flat. You get this cardboard effect. It does not look very good. We're going to make this a little better than keeping it flat. We'll give it a little bit of volume. One of the first steps in any conversion is creation of a depth map, and that can be achieved through rotoscoping, which is very labor intensive, and our goal is to try to simplify and automate the process a little bit at the expense of quality. Don't worry about the fact that this mad scientist is actually a green screen key over the street. The only reason I did that is so I could show you the two flat planes, but for our purpose now I'm going to push that out of the screen so it doesn't confuse you. Just consider this to be one single image. A depth map is a grayscale image that determines placement of objects in Z depth. And the way Tam and Vazguez are proposing to do this is through using the color component CR. Let's see how that works. We'll take the color corrector, put it down here, and on the channels tab we're going to select CR for each one of the three channels. And you can see a faint image of our mad scientist here. So to make that pop a little bit, I'm going to say 200% of each channel, and now you can see that a little better. Basically what Tam and Vazguez are saying, CR, which contains red information minus luminance information, is appropriate as a starting point for a depth map, because in most shots we'll be dealing with people and the CR component carries most of the Caucasian skin tone information. For example, if I select CB, this thing will go away, and if I select luminance, then you get a black and white image. So CR puts us the closest where we want to be. And again, the idea is that the widest objects are closest to us. So as you can see, the face is closer to us than the walls and the street. But unfortunately, at the same time, there's a problem here that we don't really see the shoulders and the sleeves. And also the umbrella and the Budweiser sign back there are brighter than the face, which means that they're in front of the face. That creates a conflict, but that's the expense of automated stereoscopic conversions. Now you can go in and manually mask and redistribute these pieces to make them fall where they are supposed to be in the Z depth. But we're not going to do that here. Now that we have our depth map, I'm going to pull a 3D DV down here, click A on the keyboard to create another input, and we're going to feed the depth map into the second input, and we're going to feed the picture, the RGB information, into the first input and pipe this into the output node. Double click the 3D DV, select this first layer, the depth map, delete it, then select the remaining layer, go to DV properties, select input 2 as your displacement texture, and for the values we'll try 25 for the scale, 0 for the offset, and maybe 20 for softness, and we'll also increase the detail quality to 9 and 9 out of 10 being the maximum. We can close this. See what happens now if I rotate the camera. We are getting this kind of eerie 3D effect where the eyes look like they're locked on the camera, and there's a little bit of depth. But now watch, this is getting really disturbing real quickly, because all we're doing is really we're warping this RGB image based on the information provided in the depth map. But that might be enough to give us a little bit of a poor man's sense of stereoscopic 3D. So let's change a couple of things here. I'm going to reset the camera, switch to the alternate camera, take a view from the top. The cone of view is represented by these blue lines, and right now our target of the camera is right in the origin of this three-dimensional system. I'm going to move the target point a little bit in the front so that will push the image back behind the screen plane. So let's try to put maybe 10 units, and then move the target just in front of the image. and pushed it back. The only thing it's going to be projecting into our space is this violation, which is actually supposed to be in the back, but the red umbrella and the Budweiser logo. We'll close this, switch to camera again, and let's create our left view. We can actually keep this as our left view, or we can adjust it. I'm going to adjust it, say -20. We're doing a converged camera thing instead of parallel camera, so there's going to be a geometric distortion. You can see the keystoning happening right there, but we won't worry about that. If you want, you can also use parallel cameras. Let's go out. So that's our left eye. I'm going to copy and paste this thing down here, connect the RGB information at input 1 and the depth map into input 2, and double click the DVE, click on the camera and set this camera to +20. So that's our right eye view. Back up here we have our left eye and our right eye, and I'm going to toggle between the left and the right. So you can see a little bit of parallax shift. That should be enough to give us pseudo 3D illusion. And at this point you can either copy this whole thing, and if you have Avid version 10.3 or above, you can rely on the stereoscopic display capabilities in those versions. If you don't have 10.3, you can make your own anaglyph preset to be able to view it with cheap anaglyph glasses, or you can download one from hdhead.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an anaglyph preset here. Additional reason why I do it in here instead of using the 10.3 capabilities is it's easier to have all of your pieces in one place instead of jumping from in a stereoscopic container from one eye to the other, adjusting things, and you'll see in a second what I mean. So let's load the preset, and we're going to feed the left eye into the left input, right eye into the right input, and go get your serial box. Here is the stereo picture. So what I meant by it's easier to have it all in one place is now if you need to do any tweaks, I can simply click here. And let's make this a little more drastic. So I'm going to make the position of the camera at -30 for the left eye and +30 for the right eye. It would be great if you could link these two with an expression. Unfortunately you can't, but nevertheless it's faster than using a stereoscopic container. So this one gives you a little bit more depth, and to get rid of the keystoning problem here on the edges, I'm just going to blow up the picture a little bit, do a simple zoom like that. It was a pleasure making another tutorial, and to download the anaglyph preset you can visit www.hdhead.com.